So you've been doing everything right. You cleaned up your diet, you're losing some weight, you're feeling great, but then you look in the mirror or maybe down at your hairbrush and you see something kind of alarming. A lot more hair seems to be falling out than usual. It's this hidden side effect that can take a huge health win and turn it into a moment of pure panic.
So what's the deal? Could the very diet you started to feel healthier actually be the reason you're losing your hair? I mean, it's a question you see popping up all over the place in forums for keto, carnivore, you name it. And the short answer is, well, it's a little complicated.
Okay, so let's really get into this. To figure out what's truly going on, we have to separate the diet itself from the effects that diet is having on your body. Because the science points to a couple of key culprits, and they have way less to do with whether or not you're eating steak and a whole lot more to do with how your body reacts to a major change.
First things first, we've got to talk about stress. And I don't just mean mental stress. I mean the way your body responds when it thinks it's in shock. Because a big dietary shift, even a really healthy one, can be a huge stressor.
Now there's a fancy medical term for this, telogen effluvium. It sounds pretty intense, right? But what it really means is your hair's growth cycle is just taking a temporary timeout. See, most of the time, about 85 to 90% of your hair is actively growing. But when your body goes through a major stress, it starts redirecting energy away from things it sees as non-essential, like growing hair, to focus on just surviving. This shoves a bunch more hair than usual into the shedding phase all at once.
And experts like Dr. Robert Leonard totally back this up. He points out that it's often not the kind of diet, but how fast you lose weight on it. Your body doesn't know the difference between the stress of a crash diet and the stress of being sick. It just knows something big is happening, and it slams the emergency brake on making new hair.
So this really puts us on two main paths that lead to the same outcome: hair loss. On one side, you've got the simple stress from cutting calories too quickly, which jacks up your stress hormones. And on the other side, you've got the fact that restrictive diets can accidentally create nutritional gaps. You might be eating super healthy foods, but you could still be missing out on some very specific little building blocks your hair absolutely needs.
And that brings us to our next major point, because this nutrient link is just absolutely critical. You got to remember, your hair follicles are some of the most active, energy-hungry cells in your entire body, and they are very, very picky eaters.
Let's start with iron. It is essential for those super fast-dividing cells in your hair follicles. If you don't have enough, production just slows way down. Now, vegans and vegetarians can be at a higher risk, and so can premenopausal women. But, and this is a huge but, just blindly taking iron supplements without knowing you're actually deficient is really dangerous. You can cause iron overload, which is toxic.
It's a very similar story with zinc. It's absolutely vital for building the protein structures that make up your hair. And yeah, if you have a true zinc deficiency, supplementing can reverse the hair loss, but taking too much can actually mess with your immune system. So you see the pattern here? Balance is everything. Oh, and we have to talk about the superstar of hair supplements, biotin. It's in everything. But here's the reality. A true biotin deficiency is incredibly rare, and there's really no good science showing it helps with hair loss unless you happen to be one of those very few people who are deficient. Its whole reputation is pretty much built on the fact that it can help with brittle nails.
So all this talk about being deficient in something naturally leads our brains to one place: supplements. And this, my friends, is where our story takes a major, major plot twist. Because for so many people, the first impulse when they see hair shedding is to run out and buy a bottle of something, and that can be a huge mistake.
Get this, a single search for hair loss in the vitamin section on Amazon brings back more than 900 different products. It is a massive, unregulated industry that's built on our anxiety. And it's all built on a very tempting but very flawed idea.
The logic just seems so simple, doesn't it? If a lack of a nutrient is causing my hair to fall out, then taking a ton of that nutrient must be the solution, right? Well, when it comes to certain vitamins, that kind of thinking can backfire spectacularly.
Just look at this. Taking way too much vitamin A or selenium or even super high doses of vitamin E has been scientifically linked to causing hair loss. I mean, let that sink in for a second. The very solution that millions of people are buying off the shelf could be making their problem worse. Or, in some cases, it might even be the thing that started it.
So if blindly grabbing a bottle of pills isn't the answer, then what are you actually supposed to do? How do you navigate all this without just guessing and maybe doing more harm than good? Well, it all comes down to a clear, evidence-based strategy.
Here's your game plan, and it's pretty straightforward. Step 1. Investigate.
Be your own detective. How fast did you really lose weight? What does your diet actually look like day to day? Step 2, consult. Talk to a real medical professional. Step 3, test. If they think it's a good idea, get some lab work done. Don't guess what you think you're missing. And finally, step 4, correct. You only supplement to fix a problem that's been proven by a test, and you do it under their guidance. That's it. It's the smartest and safest way to go. So let's just boil this all down. The biggest thing to remember is that super fast weight loss can be a shock to your system that triggers temporary hair shedding. The good news is, this condition, telogen effluvium, usually fixes itself over time. And probably the most important point of all, never, ever guess about nutrient deficiencies. Blindly taking supplements isn't just a waste of money, it can be downright harmful. Which really leaves us with one last big question to think about. That multi-billion-dollar hair supplement industry, it's largely unregulated. These products don't have to be proven safe or effective before they're sold to you. So when you grab that bottle promising a miracle, you're putting your faith in that company's marketing department. The real question is, shouldn't you be trusting a doctor and your own lab results instead?